Well, hey guys, what's going on? It's Steph here. I hope you've been well. I know I have, and it's time for another metal detecting, relic hunting adventure. In this week's episode, I take the Equinox 900 into the woods with me to some old foundations from the 1700s, our earliest settlers' homes. And this is the reason I love living in New England. We can still find those old, forgotten ruins of the people who came before us, and dig up their relics and coins that put together a story of who those people were. So it's going to be a great hunt in store for you today, and without further ado, let's hop in. So today I'm out in the woods. I'm at a cellar I've been to many times. There's the cart path right there. You can see the two sides of the stone wall. And it's just beautiful up here. I have hunted here, oh God, probably 50 times. I do have the 900 with me today. And I know this sounds nuts, but I cranked my recovery speed all the way up to 8. Just to try to get in between the nails, and I didn't have that opportunity when I used the Equinox 600. That only goes up to the equivalent of a recovery speed of 6. So this is already paying off because I managed to find a teeny tiny button. It's about 4 to 6 inches deep. Nothing here has been too terribly deep. So, maybe it's a tomback button. I don't know. I've never seen a little mound like that on the back when it's not tomback. But, hey, whatever it is, whatever kind of button, I'm happy because I've swung in this area. This is kind of the footpath down to get to the opening in the rock wall. So this would have seen a lot of foot traffic. And got another one. Awesome. Got a nice sounding target here, but it does sound a little huge, so we'll see. Let's check it out. You know, sometimes I forget how high my sensitivity is on the Equinox when I'm in the middle of nowhere. So, anyway, it was a solid tone for a good reason. We have a little thick button down there. I just picked it up, but I didn't look at the front. Whoa! Look at all the gilding on the back. And it might be fabric through it. I can't tell. Anything at all? Probably not, but I'm going to come back. We're going to look at that back mark. That looks awesome. Well, nothing's coming through on the front, so probably just plain, but it's a really nice back mark. I can just make out Scoville, and they were in business for a long time. So this is probably 1820s to 1850s or so, something like that. Beautiful, though. So it must have been face up in the ground, protecting all that beautiful gilding over 200 years. Cool. I will take that. Ah, well, this feels good. The cellar is right at the crest of that little hill right there. I got a low 50s to mid 60s, kind of jumpy, very, very deep target. I returned my recovery speed back to 5 because 8 was just, kind of unnecessary. I have a huge button or a coin. I'm going to assume that's a button. I've dug a lot of dandies in this area, so every bit of 10 inches. Let's see what we got. Anything? Probably plain. But hey, the shank's still there. It's just smashed. Awesome. It never gets old finding dandy buttons, even when they're plain like this. At least I think it's plain. I'll brush it off and come back if it has something on it, but if not, we'll keep moving. That was good. It has to be like a foot deep. Very impressive. Just got a mid-50s signal, and it's something good. Very good sign. We have a dropped musket ball. That is nice and old. Probably a 58 caliber if I had to guess. It's in really good shape. And that wasn't more than 4 inches in the ground, probably. You can see the cast seam right there from the mold. So, very, very good sign. We'll keep on going. Well, I haven't found a ton today, but I am very bad about taking video of where I am. And this is just beautiful. I'm sitting on a rock right here, taking a quick break, and then we'll get back to swinging, but I just had to show you this. What a sight. Well, this about gave me a heart attack. It was anywhere from like a 20 to a 40. It was really jumpy. I looked down and I just see that, which looks like a Native American kettle point. But, oop. It's not. It's some nondescript piece of brass. I don't think there's anything fancy on there. It certainly doesn't appear to be. No idea. If you know, let me know. This place saw occupation between the 1600s and early 1900s, so the stuff is all over the place. But it's part of why I come here. I like the variety. So, anyway, we'll move on. Well, I can't say this is super exciting, but, you know, good signal amongst the iron is about a 40-41. And down there, we've got part of an oil lamp. This is the little knob that would have advanced the wick to go up and down to adjust your brightness. So that's mangled. That's probably going to go in the garbage, but it's a good target. I didn't hear it before. Okay. Got a pretty cool relic right here. Came up a 12 to a 13. And remember, this is on the 900, so that is a very low signal. Flipped it out. And we have a little suspender clip, which looks like it's going to be very fancy. I'm definitely going to brush that off and come back. Can't believe how low that rang up. I am noticing with the 900 that if it's really thin stamped brass, it's coming up low in almost the numbers that it would have come up on the 600 or 800. So that's interesting. But yeah, let me come back with this. Well, it's beautiful, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. It almost looks like, let's zoom in. Almost looks like an eagle up at the top. I don't know. And like some floral pattern going around. I'm not even sure which way this would have been worn. But that's a really cool piece. Very pleased with that. Now, in full transparency, I had not planned to do a cut-in on this suspender clasp. However, because I have never seen one dug before, along with the fact that I reached out to author George Bovis, who also hasn't seen this before, and he's got hundreds of pages of suspender clips dug by metal detectorists, I figured this was worth a close look. Now, some of you may have been keen enough to notice that the eagle's head is actually pointing over to the arrows versus the olive branches. Now, it's been an urban myth for years that if the eagle's head is switched to point over to the arrows, we are in a state of war. And although in researching this that's not exactly the case, and again it is just a myth, it's really interesting to me that the patent for this particular type of suspender clip came out in the 1850s, just before the beginning of the Civil War. And only a few feet away from this, I made a find that absolutely has to do with the Civil War, so it really makes you wonder. Back to the show. Okay, I had a 39 to 40 signal, not too deep. Usually that's a shotgun shell, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Looks like we have a little button. A little two-piece. Oh, I think that's military. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, that makes my day. There's an anchor on it, I think. Oh my goodness, let me brush this off. Oh, that feels really good. Well, I am pleased to report that after doing some Google searches, sorry, my face is frozen if I sound funny, this is a Civil War Connecticut state seal button. And it's so tiny. I really hope that cleans up all right, but that is so exciting. I don't think a lot of military buttons, so that absolutely makes my day. And since I'm freezing, I guess I'll kind of mosey my way out of here, but that's an incredible piece of history. I really hope it holds up well. Here we are in the dark again. Well, almost dark. I got like a 38 to 40 signal on the Equinox, and it was very, very deep. Probably about 9 inches or so. I plucked it out. I was thinking it was going to be a shotgun shell, but it's not. And I'm pleasantly surprised that it is a pewter button. With the shank, I think. I think it's got the whole thing there. Certainly looks that way. Can't tell if we have a design, but I'm going to pack that in my case with some dirt so that it stays wet until I get home, until I can seal this. That's what you want to do with pewter. Otherwise, it's just going to crumble. You can probably see the edges are actually in pretty decent shape, so hopefully this makes it home in pretty good condition. All right, I just got like a 34 signal, kind of double tappy. I really wasn't expecting this, but I have a button. And I wasn't going to film it if it was playing because I'm trying to get out of here. It's getting late, obviously. But when I flipped it over, I don't know how well you can see that, but it looks like there's a Tudor rose in the middle. I don't think I've ever dug... Well, no, I've dug one button with a Tudor rose on it. That is really cool. I'll brush that off and come back. Well, it's not cleaning up all that well in the field. It's pretty worn, but... there's no mistaking that that's a Tudor rose with the 5 petals, even though it's pretty worn. Don't see anything as a back mark. I think that this is pretty early colonial, and I just heard recently that some loyalists lived pretty much where I'm hunting right now, so that makes sense. That is really cool. I'm very happy with that. I've been waiting for this signal all day, but perfectly clean signal. I'm going to go with copper. And now, what are you going to be? Always so exciting. Always so exciting. This never gets old, especially when you've been in the woods all day looking for one. Is this another draped bust? Huh. I think I see a bust facing right. But it's, you know what? Was I looking at the back? I think I might have been looking at the back. There might be a King George the First. I think that's exactly what that is. That's awesome. And that totally tracks for what I usually find out here. You can see that big fat rim at the bottom. And hopefully I'm right, or I'm going to have to eat my words. Come back with a totally different ID. Not sure what kind of condition this is going to be in, but 300-year-old copper right there. Probably a little bit older. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think I'm going to eat my words. You can see Britannia there. And I think we have a date of 1730. When I brushed off the front just a bit, you can see King George II facing to the left. I don't know why I saw him facing right, but it's kind of swampy over here, so that might hold up okay. I'll be careful cleaning that one, but so rewarding when you're out in the woods all day and you're just really not finding a lot. Find a few cool things at the very last second, especially a 300-year-old coin. That makes up for all of the effort. That is awesome. Okay guys, well that's going to wrap it up for this week's video. In next week's video, I have quite a treat in store for you. If you are familiar with my channel and you've been coming back year after year, you know what time of the year it is. It's going to be the countdown of the best finds from this past year on YouTube. For those of you who are new to the channel, the reason I do this right around the 4th of July is because that's when I launched my channel in 2019. So that's when the annual calendar is, at least for me. So keep your eyes peeled for that next Monday. It's going to be a good one. And until next time, we'll see you next week.